All right, I'd like to welcome back Joe Manniello, Newsday's NFL's pick columnist. Joe, how you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Doing pretty good. We are now even in records. I went 1-4 to bring us to 23-23. You had a nice week at 3-2 to bring you up to 23-23. So heading into week 10, all even now.
Yeah, here we go.
Absolutely. So let's start off. There's no Jets this week, so we're going to do things a little bit different. We're going to pick the Thursday night game. We'll pick the Giants game and then game of the week and so on from there. So let's talk about the Colts and the Titans who are playing on Thursday night. It's a pick 'em. Who do you like in this game?
Yeah, this is one of those games where I feel like it's a ultimate coin flip game. You know, like you said, it's a pick 'em. Two solid teams. You know, not spectacular, but two really good teams. But you know, they're not like heavyweights. So I think it can go either way. And I don't think home field really matters in 2020 as much as it does in the past. So I'm going to take the Colts here. I just think I sent in my pick today for the paper, and I just went with the Colts because their defense is really good. They're third best against the run, and they allow the fewest yards per game. So I was just looking for anything for a little edge, and the Titans are a little banged up, I think. And I mean, they were 5-0, and then they lost to Cincinnati. I don't think they're on the level that they were last year. I think that 5-0 start is a little misleading. And the Colts, they're hard to figure out, too. I mean, they were behind big at home against Cincinnati, too, before rallying.
Right.
So I think this will be a close game, like a 26-23 kind of game. I just hope that Rivers doesn't throw a late pick. So I'll take the Colts. And, I mean, the Colts winner of this game is in good shape for the division. I mean, if the Colts win, they'll be 6-3, and the Titans will be 6-3. Jaguars and Texans aren't going to win, and they play again. So this is a really big game. The loser could still win the division or even get a wild card. So it's only week 10, but it's a big statement game. And I mean, it's you know, like I said, it's just a really even match. You know, both coaches are good, both quarterbacks. I'm just gonna go with the Colts. I think the defense makes one big stop and they win a close game.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Titans in this one, but I would not be shocked at all if the Colts won this game for a lot of the reasons you just listed off. Their defense is playing really good football right now. Phillip Rivers is doing enough to keep them in games and winning games. But as for the Titans, they, like you said, they started off really hot, had a couple of down games against the Steelers and then against the Bengals. Won last week against Chicago, and I think that was a little bit of a get-right game for them. I thought they played pretty well. I think we see the offense come back to life a little bit. They had a nice run from week 2 through week 5. They scored over 30 points a game. And then since then, they've 2 of their last 3, they've been under 30 points. So I think the offense comes back to life a little bit. I like Ryan Tannehill at this point in his career a little bit more than I like Rivers. So I think that's going to be the slight difference for me why I'm going Titans. Again, would I be shocked if the Colts won? Absolutely not. But I expect a good matchup. I'm going to say like a field goal difference. I'll say 27-24 Titans.
Yeah, close game.
How about for the Giants and the Eagles? The Eagles are favored by 3.5. Who do you like in this game?
Yeah, the Giants, 2-7, but they're 6-3 against the spread. And I just feel like everyone's kind of buying into this whole, well, the Giants could win the division. I'm not buying it. I don't think so. I think the Eagles are off a bye. I think they're the better team. They always beat the Giants. I think they've beaten them maybe 9 in a row. I don't know the exact number, but they've owned them. And Daniel Jones 4-0 against Washington. He's 0-3 against the Eagles. I'm pretty sure 0-2. So, you know, he hasn't beaten anyone else other than Washington 4 times in that great game against Tampa Bay in his first start. So, track record says this is going to be another brutal Giants loss. I think it'll be close. The Giants, all they do is play close games. Like I said, they're 6-3 against the spread. Every game's like 3 points, 2 points. They should have beaten the Eagles a couple of weeks ago on Thursday night, and they lost 22-21, heartbreaker. I just think this game is a little bit not as much of a nail-biter. I think the Eagles take control maybe in the third quarter, win by a touchdown. So I'll lay the points.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm taking the Eagles also. Not only have the Eagles played well against the Giants in recent memory, but the Giants also struggle at home, especially to cover the spread. So I like the Eagles this week. Like you said, they're coming off a bye, so they've had a little bit of time. I know this is not the same Eagles team that we were used to the last couple of years. I still think they probably have the best shot at the division, though. Giants are still technically alive, but I don't really look at them as someone who could compete with even a team like the Eagles, who, granted, they're not anything special this year, but I still like their roster a little bit better than the Giants. And I think at the end of the day here, we're looking at, maybe a 6-point win for the Eagles, 26-20, a lowish scoring kind of game. I just don't think the Giants have enough to keep pace, so I'm going to take the Eagles right there with you at 3.5.
Yeah, I was thinking 27-20, so we're on the same page.
Yeah, okay, there you go. So let's get to another good game this week. It's the Seahawks and the Rams. The Rams are favored by 1 here at home. Who do you like?
Yeah, also same situation as the Eagles. Rams off a bye. I also like them at home. I think Sean McVay having a whole week to study Seahawks defense, which has not been good at all. Been giving up 30 points a game. Last week they gave up over 40 at Buffalo. Jamal Adams fighting with Pete Carroll on the sideline his first game back. I mean, the thing about the Seahawks is that Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf, their offense is so great that it overshadows how bad the defense is. So I think the Rams, they had a bye the week before they laid a stinker at Miami in Tua's first start, and they just got, even though they outgained them, the defense was they gave up a couple defensive touchdowns, special teams touchdowns. So I think they had 2 weeks to stew over that and prepare for Seattle. And, it's the most big game in the NFC West, which is very competitive with Arizona playing well too. I just like the idea of McVay getting a whole week, and it's hard to go against Russell Wilson. I mean, it's hard to see him losing 2 games in a row. I got to go back and check when the last time that happened. I think that might have happened like 2-3 years ago. But they're a really good team, obviously. But the Rams under McVay, they're 4-2 against Seattle, and they won 3 of the last 4. And the one loss was a 1-point game on Thursday night last year where they missed the field goal at the end. So they played them really well. Last year, I think they beat them 28-12 at home late in the season. I just think McVay, I think he's going to dial up a nice game. It'll be close because Seattle's good, but I think it'll be like a 30-27 kind of game, 27-24. But I like the Rams to win.
Okay, I also agree that this is going to be a close game. I'm going to take the Seahawks, though. Russell Wilson getting points is pretty enticing to me. I know how bad.
It's only a point, though.
Yeah, true. It's only
a toss-up,
Yeah, it's going to be a close game. I'm going Seattle, though. I don't think they laid 2 stinkers in a row. I think they try to get this win, and I think they do get this win. Would I be stunned if the Rams won? I would say absolutely not. You just rattled it off. They play Seattle very, very tough. I like them for the division still at this point in the Seahawks. And like I said, I just don't think they come out and lose back-to-back games. It's going to be a close one, maybe 34-31. It'll be a high-scoring game, so whatever the over is, I might want to take a look at that. But I'm going to take the Seahawks in a close one. I'll say 34-31.
Sure.
How about a best bet this week? Who's someone you're really confident in?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with this team I've been taking. Actually, the first 4 weeks of the year, I picked their games wrong, all 4, and the last 4 I got them all right, and I've been riding them. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins -2.5. Pretty sure at home against the Chargers. I'm really impressed with Brian Flores. I always talk about how great the defense plays, and just even last year, everyone talked about, myself included, they were going to be an 0-16 team, and I think they won 5 games. And Tua had a really good second start. They won at Arizona in a high-scoring game, 34-31. I think something going on with the Dolphins. They're 5-3. They got a shot at the wild card. I think they'll win this game. It's an interesting game. Back-to-back picks in the draft. I think Tua went 5th and Herbert went 6th. It's funny because Herbert, even though he's playing really well, he probably wishes he was in Miami because the Chargers are just the most cursed franchise. I mean, they keep finding, they're like the West Coast Falcons. They keep finding ways to lose. The way they've lost the last few games is unbelievable. And now they're on the road. To me, it's just a demoralized team, and I don't see how. I mean, this is a pro-Dolphins pick, but it's also an anti-Chargers pick. I just don't see how these guys are going to be like super jacked for these games anymore. They're 2-6. Season's basically over. They're not, obviously not catching Kansas City. AFC has teams ahead of them in the wild card. So, I mean, Herbert will play well. It'll be a close game because it's the NFL. They're always close. But I like what Miami's doing. The defense is playing really well. They won a couple games in a row, and 5-3. They get a win here. They're 6-3. And then also, if Buffalo loses to Arizona, they're right in the AFC East race as well. So I think Brian Flores has got something going on there. Players buying into his system, and I think they keep it going here. But they're like maybe a touchdown win, 30-23 kind of game.
Joe, I'm with you. I'm obviously going to take the Dolphins as my best bet also. I really like what Brian Flores has done this year. And you said it best, man. The Chargers are just finding ways to lose. Each and every week they outdo themselves. Having to come from the West Coast to the East Coast is always a tough thing also. And the Dolphins only getting 2.5 points, I think is a gift. They're giving 2.5 points. I don't see how the Chargers win this game coming on the road and the way that they've been playing. Granted, that's nothing against Justin Herbert. He's played really, really good football. And I picked the Chargers a few times and got beaten by them in those picks. But I really like what Tua Tagovailoa has been doing there. I think it was the right decision to make the switch when they did. And I think they're going to be a competitive team down the stretch here. They have as good a shot of any to get into a wild card spot. And even they do have a path to the division, too, depending on what happens in the Buffalo game this week. So I think they win. I think they're the better coach team. I think that their quarterback and offense is playing really good football. I think they win this game. I'm going to say something like 30-26. I think they win by 4 to 6 points, somewhere in that range.
Sure.
How about an underdog? Who's someone who's underdog you like?
Yeah, usually when we do these interviews, I always have like the teams in my head, but I kind of forgot about underdogs. I don't like a ton of them this week. It's I like the big numbers. I like the Saints laying the big number, like the Ravens against the Patriots. So I don't like too many underdogs, but I'm torn between two. What? Tell me what you got the lines up. What's the Washington line? Is it 3 or 3.5 at Detroit, and what's Cincinnati at Pittsburgh?
Washington is where the heck did they move Washington down to?
Detroit, 1 o'clock.
Oh yeah, it's 3.5 in that game.
And what about Cincinnati? Is that 7.5?
Cincinnati is 7.5. Correct.
Yeah, I'll go with Washington. I mean, I think Cincinnati's a good pick too. The 6-1-1 against the spread, but the Steelers had a bad game last week, so they might come out, fired up and, might sack Burrow 10 times. So I'll go with Washington, 3.5. I mean, this is more of an anti-Detroit pick. I don't think Detroit should be favored by more than 3 against most teams. Washington, they're not a good team, obviously, but they're not bad. I mean, I think they're better than their record. Alex Smith played well. The teams played a little bit better last week against the Giants, and this is more anti-Lions pick. They always play close games, and I don't see them blowing out anyone except maybe like the Jets or Jaguars. So I think this will be like the red zone game that's like 2017 with 3 minutes left and Stafford has the ball. So I like the idea of getting 3.5 points. And like I always say, I think Washington can win the game. So if you're getting more than a field goal and you think the underdog is a live underdog to win, you always take the point. So I'll take the 3.5 with Washington.
I like that pick also. I'm going to go a different direction, though. I'm going to take the Bears on Monday Night Football plus 2.5 over the Vikings. The Vikings have looked pretty good the last couple of weeks, but something about Kirk Cousins in primetime scares me off a little bit. I know the Bears are coming off a loss. They started out hot and kind of slowed down a little bit, but I think they win an ugly game. And if they're getting 2.5 in this one, I'm going to take it. So I think they win. I don't know, maybe like 20 to 17, something like that. But I just don't trust the Minnesota Vikings yet. I think they're getting too much love right now. I don't know how you feel about that, but
yeah, I'm actually taking the Vikings just because I think the Bears stink. But I do get it. It's probably the smart pick because it's just you look at the way they played the last few weeks and it's like, wow, the Vikings seem like an easy pick. They're going to win this game easily, and then they give them 2.5 on the road, and the next thing you know, the Bears, the Bears are weird. I mean, it's hard to really get a read on them. One of the toughest teams to get, but I get the pick. I mean, I think like a sharp guy in Vegas would pick the Bears getting points at home against a 3-5 team. But the way the Vikings have played the last few weeks, Dalvin Cook, I'm going to take a chance and stay with them.
All right. So just to run through our picks quick in the Colts and Titans Thursday night matchup, it's a pick 'em. I'm going Titans. Joe is going with the Colts. We are both on the Eagles over the Giants minus 3.5. Game of the week, Seahawks and Rams. I like the Seahawks +1. Rams are -1. Best bet, we are both on the Dolphins minus 2.5 over the Chargers. For an upset pick, I like the Bears +2.5 over the Vikings. And Joe is on Washington +3.5 over Detroit. Another week in the books. Joe, thanks so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
This is the second year we've done this, right?
Yeah, second year.
I don't think we ever had the same best bet. I don't think.
No, yeah. In 2 years, I think you're right. We are both. This is the first time we are on the same thing for best bet. So
yeah, that should be fun. All right, cool. Thanks, Matt.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joe.